Hello everyone, welcome back. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you 5 tips on how to be consistent with reading, how we can make reading a habit. And the very first thing is to know your why. As you all know, if you've been watching my channel, you realize that I am so big on the why. And the reason is because you can teach people how to all you want, but if they do not really understand why that is important to them, nobody's going to go through all that headache of trying to apply that which you are telling them. Why should I be reading? What role does reading play in my life? Why should I take out time in my busy schedule to read? So it's important that we know the why. It's until we know the why that we'll be interested in the how. I already have the first part of this video addressing the why. Why is it important for us to read? If you haven't watched that video, I'm going to be leaving it in the description box below. Please do click that link and watch that video, because when you understand how important reading is, the role it plays in our lives, how it is related to us being productive and accomplishing our purpose in life. When you have that understanding, then you're going to happily follow these 5 tips on how to be consistent with reading. You'll be excited about applying them, and then it's going to work for you. Number 2, pick the right book. You know, this is where a lot of readers make a mistake. Many times we are just excited, we're starting on this new journey of being consistent with our reading, and then we just get out there, grab any book, and before we know it, we're not reading it. I still remember when I used to just go to either a friend's house or a family member's house, and I see a book, the title looks good and captivating, and I'm like, can I borrow this book? Can I get this one? Can I get this one? I just pile up all of those books, take them home, and I never do anything about them. You don't just pick a book because the title is captivating or because it's the bestseller. You know, there are a few things to consider when you're picking a book. Look at the books that speak to your interest or speak to your season. To your season in particular, that works for me. When I see a book that is speaking to my season, the tendency is that I'm going to read that book. I'm going to continue reading it until I finish it, because I can relate to it, because it's speaking some things that I can understand, or because it is addressing or giving me tools and information that is going to help me within that season. Maybe you're in a season where you're starting off a family. Pick books that, speak to that season. You'll be very interested in them, and they're going to also speak to your season. Maybe you are in a season of self-awareness, enlightenment. Get those self-help books. Get things that will just open your mind even more. Or maybe you're just coming out of a season that things have been just too serious and hardworking for you, and right now you just need a book that is more entertaining. You just want to relax and go for entertainment. Then maybe you might pick a historical drama, a fantasy. Maybe you want to just read people's personal testimonies, biographies, just something that is easy and relaxing and fun. So you pick a book based on your interest, based on your season. I would also advise that if you are picking a book, especially if you're just at the beginning of that journey into reading or trying to make reading a consistent thing for you, go for little books, go for small books, even books like this one, with this thickness, or even books like, let's say this one. Books like these, not books that are so heavy that will be discouraging, or you may start and you're not able to finish. Pick something that is quick, it's easy, you'll finish it. This little one I'm showing you was gifted to me by a friend. I remember finishing it on a journey. I was just in the car traveling from one town to the next, and before I got to the other side, I was done with it. I loved the book, and I was looking forward to read it again or to grab another book. If you go for books that are just so heavy and so thick, and you're still trying to be consistent, you're still trying to introduce books into your everyday schedule, it could become very overwhelming. And if you do not enjoy the process, then being consistent is going to be much more difficult. You can also pick a book based on recommendation. And I would always advise that the person recommending have an idea of who they are, what they think, what they read, then you would know if what they are recommending is worth buying or worth picking up that book. And if they also know you, as somebody ever said, there's this movie, I know you will love it. There is this food, try it, I know you will love it. Or try this restaurant, I know you would love it. Because somewhere they know your interests, they know your tastes, they maybe know the season that you are in. So they will be able to recommend something they know will interest you. And if you also know that individual, there are people that when they recommend a book to me or a movie to me or something, I know their taste, I know the kind, maybe I've watched a movie with them, maybe I've discussed a book with them, I can go by their word. This is something I really want to emphasize. Many times we feel that because we have picked a book, we are bound to finish that book. You know, if you read a book and you feel like you're not really feeling it, it's not what you thought, and it's just not working for you in general or at that time, it's okay to put it to the side, pick something else. You can always go back to that book, or maybe if you think you may not even want to go back to that book, you could donate it, you could gift it to somebody else. Try to switch from genre to genre from time to time. You know, if you've been reading self-help books, maybe you want to switch to something that is more spiritually edifying. Maybe you want to switch to something that is entertaining. But at the end of the day, those switches will be based on your interest and again, the season that you are in, because that there may just be some genres that you're just not interested in at all, and that is okay. Finally, on this aspect of picking the right book, we also have the money factor, especially for people who read a lot in a month, right? And they do not want to spend that much money every month just on books. Make good use of your public library. Make use of maybe bookstores that sell used books that are, you know, less expensive. Remember, I've told you this process is for you. This process is to help you. It's not about you showing it and posting it somewhere that look at my new shiny book that I'm reading. I'm very intelligent. I'm very smart. You are doing this for yourself, so you can pick up a used book. You can go to your library and get books there for free. There are even some libraries that if you ask for a book and they do not have it right there, they can even bring it in from another library and they'll let you know when that book is available. Number 3, set your reading goals. We all know that when we set goals, it helps us to make effective plans and schedules that we can follow. And when we follow them, then we achieve these goals. And please, when you're making your reading goals, make sure that they are realistic. Consider your lifestyle, consider your level or the stage that you are in the reading process. You know, you could say that I'm going to be reading 30 minutes a day, or maybe you want to go in terms of pages of the book. Whatever book that you're reading, I'm going to do 10 pages per day. I'm going to do 5 pages a day. I'm going to do a chapter a day. When you break it down and you give yourself, if you just say, I'm going to read a book in a month, or I'm going to read a book in 2 months, it is so vague, you know, and it's very easy to procrastinate and say, well, I still have a month. Well, I still have a month. But if I know that today I have to read 2 pages, today I have to finish a chapter, or this week I have to finish 2 chapters, that way it is a little bit more specific and it is easy to follow and accomplish. Don't say I'm going to read 50 books or 20 books per week. I'm going to read this number of books per day. And you know that that's something that's not possible for you to do. It's not a competition. At the end of the day, we want to get the value out of reading. If this is why I read, the general benefits of reading, I want to get those general benefits of reading. And I also want to get the benefit of reading that specific book. If it was a self-help book, at the end of the day, I want to make sure that I'm done with that book. I've gotten the tools that I need. I'm setting out there to see how these things can help to improve my life. If it was something on entertainment, at the end of that book, I want to be entertained. Number 4, pick a location. It may seem like something that is not very important, but it is, because if you are reading in an environment that is very noisy, distracting, it's not comfortable, you will not really enjoy the process of reading. And before you know it, you will put that book on the side and you'll move away. Remember, we're trying to get that process of reading consistent. I understand that for most people, at times, the time that you have available to read and the perfect location may not match. For example, maybe the time that you have available to read, you may not be at home where you can be in your office or in a reading nook or something. Maybe your best time to read is when you're commuting to work or when you're coming back. You're on the subway, you are in the bus. It could be noisy, it could be uncomfortable. Maybe what you could do is get headphones, listen to some instrumentals while you read. At the end of the day, you're just trying your best to make it work. But if you are blessed with good timing and good location, please merge the two and make good use of it. Look for a very quiet spot, a nice location. It could be your backyard, it could be your room, it could be your home office. Some people are blessed with fancy libraries even within their homes. There are people who have created some beautiful nooks that they can read in. Whatever works for you, just find that peaceful, quiet location and make the reading process an enjoyable one. If it is a permanent location for you, I would advise that maybe leave the book right there, leave your highlighters right there, leave your bookmarks, everything that you always use, leave it at that corner so that when that time comes, you move to that area, you are ready to read, and you do not have to be looking for your highlighter, looking for this. It may chop into that little 30 minutes that you have allocated for reading, or that 1 hour that you've allocated for reading. Tip number 5, surround yourself with readers. If you look in your family, among your friends, just look around you, you will find out that there are people who read, who love reading, who have been reading, or even some people who are about to get on that journey to read. That is also a good company. Like, you hold hands and say, you know what, we're about to begin this reading journey. And then when you're going together, challenging one another, encouraging one another, it really helps to be consistent. Another way to surround yourself with readers is to join a book club. Personally, I have never joined a book club, but I have done group reading. Like, I remember this particular book, Lies Women Believe. I read it in a group, my women's Bible study in church. We did that book and I really enjoyed it. It challenged me to keep up the pace, to read weekly how much I had to cover for a week. I made sure that I covered it because I wanted that when we met and we're discussing some of those things and how it relates to our everyday life, I wanted to be able to chip in something and at the same time understand when somebody was maybe talking about the book and relating it to their own life experiences. I wanted it to be clear so that it's relatable, so that I get the most out of that book. So when you belong to a group like that, you people challenge each other, you are accountable to each other. It helps you to be consistent in reading that book, and after that, you'll be consistent in reading in general. And finally, I would like to encourage us that when we have done all to be consistent with our reading, let us be consistent with reading our Bibles, because we need it. We need it to be able to go through the ups and downs of life. We need it to be able to understand who we are. We need it to be able to know our purpose here on earth and to live it to the full. We are encouraged in 2 Timothy 2:15 to study to show thyself approved unto God, a workman that needeth not to be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth. Hebrews 4:12, for the word of God is alive and powerful. It is sharper than the sharpest two-edged sword, cutting between soul and spirit, between joint and marrow. It exposes our innermost thoughts and desires. Psalm 119:105. Your word is a lamp to guide my feet and a light for my path. Please do not only write down these tips or make a mental note of them, start to apply them. Start applying them today. I know that around this time of the year, we tend to procrastinate every new goal. We push it over to January. No, you can start doing it today so that when January comes, you have already developed that habit of reading. You already know how to be consistent with your reading. Remember, I always encourage us on this channel to put your best foot forward and strive to bloom and flourish in your everyday life. Thank you all so much for watching, and see you in the next video.